Just an overview of our presentation. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who the Green Industry Council is, who we represent, perhaps most importantly about why we're needed, and about the proposed legislation that is facing the golf industry and all sectors of the industry we refer to as the Green Industry Professionals of New Jersey. Why the Green Industry Council is needed, we're going to touch on the importance of communication and education. We're going to talk about why it's so important to tell our positive story about how golf is doing good things for the environment. You've heard some of that from Jim. You know a lot of it from work from the USGA and the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program that I was part of for many years, and Mark's work and many other golf courses. We need to tell those positive stories and promote our industry for all the positives that are done. And lastly, we want to talk to you about how you can help, how you can be engaged, and why it's so important for you to do so. Let's start with who is the Green Industry Council. We are a nonprofit 501c6 organization. Our focus is to watch out for new laws and regulations that can impact the entire green industry, and that of course includes the golf course sector. We work with a contract lobbyist in Trenton. We've been working with them for over 8 years now. It is State Street Associates, and more specifically Hal Bozarth and Ed Waters. We've had a very successful partnership, and we've been able to make a lot of progress in that relationship. We reach out to legislators and regulators on a regular basis to educate them about our industry, and it's very important. A lot of them don't know much about the industry. We also reach out to our industry professionals and leaders such as you so that you're aware of what threats are out there, what legislation, bad legislation is out there that can change the way you do business, change your bottom line. Our overall goal is to secure reasonable laws and regulations that are science-based, that are common sense-based. We are your voice in Trenton. Who do we represent? We represent, as I already mentioned, all sectors of the Green Industry Council, all the professionals that manage the outdoor environment, all the leaders of the facilities that are providing recreational areas. This includes, of course, the golf sector. We work very closely with the Golf Course Superintendents Association, but also arborists, lawn and landscape people, sports field managers, structural pest control people. We represent your interests in Trenton. We communicate, we serve as an umbrella organization to try and have all of us under one umbrella. NJGIC works very, very hard for a unified industry. We are committed that a unified voice is important in securing reasonable laws and regulations. Really, if you go out on your own, you have a lot less power. All of us together has been very effective in a lot of the initiatives we've had. A unified voice is very important, and a very important thing of the New Jersey Green Industry Council. How many have ever heard of the Safe Playing Fields Act? Okay, a few. That's good. All of you should be able to raise your hand because it affects all of you. This is a bill promoted, as I mentioned earlier, by the Junior League, a group of well-meaning women that wish to ban pesticides anywhere children play. So the first tee program we heard about in the opening video, the high school golf team that wants to come to your course, playing with your grandson on the golf course. If this bill is successful and it trickles down to golf, that will not be allowed because you use pesticides on your golf course and children cannot access those areas. We the New Jersey Green Industry Council, are very much opposed to this ban approach. It is not that we are against children. It is not that we are not for the safe and health and safety of our children. But we recognize that the exposure risk is not what these environmental activists are saying. We recognize that a lot of the over-exaggeration in this banning approach is really a bad way to go. We are putting forward an alternative bill that focuses on integrated pest management. I've already mentioned it before, the common sense approach, keeping pesticides, proper use, responsible use when somebody that's trained and knowledgeable, just like the golf course superintendent, knows when it's right to use them and uses them. We're calling that bill the Protecting Children at Play Act. Doesn't have a number yet in the Assembly and Legislature, but that is a very big initiative of ours, something all of you in the room need to be concerned about. We know from experience that the Safe Playing Fields Act, which is back now for the second session, has a lot of legislative support because they can't vote against a bill that says protect children. So we have a lot of lifting to do to communicate that approach, just because it's in the name, is not the best approach, that you really need to talk to the experts and you need to listen and see about the unintended consequences that can come from banning pesticides anywhere children play. The legislators have limited knowledge about our industry, its practices, and its professionals. They deal with about 40,000 bills a year. They come from all different varied backgrounds. They don't know much about turfgrass management, even if they do play golf. They know less about the products that are needed and used and relied on in the industry. Our products are often perceived as dangerous, and most don't think they're tested at all. Fear of pesticides is promoted not only by our anti-pesticide groups like the Sierra Club, but by these activist mother groups who know even less. This information is abundant, it's on the web, and it's even in testimony. I have to say it was a bittersweet moment when I was in the Senate Environment Committee and a representative from the Junior League stood up and said, I want this committee to know that Boltestrawl is a member of the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program for golf courses. Remember, this is the program I promoted for many years on staff at the USGA. And Boltestrawl doesn't use any pesticides. So if this world-renowned golf course could be pesticide-free, all schools should ban the use of pesticides. And we should pass this Safe Playing Fields Act. That's the kind of information that's being put in front of decision makers in Trenton. And if somebody's not there to stand up and say, excuse me, you have some serious misinformation, we find ourselves in a very difficult place, and we'll find ourselves with some very onerous legislation. That's why it's important that we're there. So what does it take to advocate? Advocating for the green industry? Communication is critical. It's nothing new there. I think everybody knows communication is critical. Access to legislators is critical. That is our opportunity to educate them. It doesn't happen just in a site meeting, but it also happens at fundraisers. We support 5 fundraising events, and they are amazingly beneficial to help bring a legislator up to speed to know at least what the issue is, what some of the science is behind it, what some of the industry practices are. We're not partisan. We have to work both sides of the aisle in Trenton. We work to educate all. We respect all officials. And we certainly support those in leadership and those that are in the positions to review our bills. We'd like to do a lot more, and the more support we can get, the more we can educate, the more we can stop from facing some really bad bills. These are our important committees. As we deal with the Safe Playing Fields Act for the 3rd year, we'll be looking to the Senate Environment and Energy Committee. On the other side, we'll be looking to the Assembly Women and Children's Committee. As we deal with the neonicotinoid ban bill, we'll be looking at the Assembly Agricultural and Natural Resources Committee. These committees are our key target committees for 2014-2015. They're reviewing the bills that we care about. They're the people we need to communicate to. And with that, I'm going to bring my co-presenter up, Mark, to talk a little bit about reason number 3, our story.
Yeah, as you can see, the issue is quite broad. It's unfortunate that that people don't have any idea sometimes of what it is, what it takes to keep green. I wish there was a magic pill, or I wish there was a seed. We have drought-resistant grasses available today. We have disease-resistant grasses. Unfortunately, they're not all adapted to our use on golf courses and in areas where we would utilize them. Certain types of pesticides are needed to support turf. And so, we have to tell the story of why is turf important. And, when you look at turf, from Augusta National to Central Park in New York City to your home lawns and roadside uses, schools, and also our athletic fields, it's obvious grasses play an important part of our lives every day, and day in and day out. We all want to have a lawn that looks better than the neighbors, and we all want to have a golf course that maybe looks a little better, and depending on where you're at. You heard about from Jim today about using less water, and I think we all try to achieve that at our various courses and even in our home lawns to some extent. We use a very small percentage of water in the golf industry, although we're perceived as huge users. Just like Jim said, people drive by and see those big sprinklers on it. They look at them wasting water out there. It has turf. Having a golf course in your backyard is probably the best thing you could ever imagine. And you look at the benefits of turf and the fertility of the soil and stabilizing benefits of turf in preventing loss of soil and nutrients to the water. You're talking about runoff studies, and throughout time, the various runoff studies, especially Dr. Tom Watchke at Penn State, did extensive work in runoff on turf grasses, and really came up with statistics that showed that turf grasses, prevent runoff of nutrients and pesticides and anything of that nature. That really, they neutralize the effects of those compounds that are out there. Most of the turf chemicals that you've heard Nancy describe today are much milder and friendly to the environment than we ever could imagine what we used in the past. I remember when guys used to mix mercury with their hands in fertilizer and pour it on their golf course, and cadmium and various other DDT, and I can't even, Temic workers used to die in the fields in California from Temic poisoning. Those are gone. Those are all gone today. We even have trouble controlling some of the insects we have today because we don't have certain products available. And that's all right, because we're going to come up with better ones that are safe for the environment, safe for the end users, and certainly safe for anybody that plays on our golf courses or our athletic fields out there. We look at turf, we don't realize how much oxygen turf produces in the course of a year and what our golf courses do in a community. You look at, it's a tremendous number, the amount of people that could breathe off of. If you put a dome over a golf course, you could have 7,000 to 8,000 people breathing and living in there without any problem in a community from that golf course being present. The cooling effect is tremendous. And I think you basically need to only look at the nighttime temperatures or the daytime temperatures in New York City and then compare them with those out in New Jersey and North Jersey and South Jersey, and see that we're anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees cooler in those areas because of the effects of turf and other plant life in those areas. It's a shock absorber for recreational sports. Recently they've come out with some great fields of artificial turf, with crumb rubber and things like that. I'd be a little leery of my child ingesting crumb rubber, but it's they're out there and they're better than what they were in the past. But there's still nothing like a good natural turf and vegetation and thatch to support the falls and everything that goes on in athletics today. And I think we need to bring more of it back. It's just the number of participants today is, unfortunately, we don't have the grass durable enough to stand up to the traffic we put on our athletic fields today. But we're working on that, and that will be a fact someday. I think there'll be that magic grass someday. And certainly the healing effects, of turf, just the therapeutic effects of being out all on and recreating with your children and having a good time. It's an amazing thing. So we owe an awful lot to turf, and we certainly in our golf industry, we really can hardly be without it. We have a lot of activities. You've heard a little bit about Valtis Roll being part of the Audubon Certified Sanctuary Program, which we are, and we're very proud of it. We started that back in the 90s, and we've continued it forward. We're in the middle of recertifying right now, and we have to demonstrate yearly the things that we're doing to enhance wildlife and nature on our golf course, and doing things like controlling the amount of water we use, various other things like testing our water in our streams where it enters the property and exits the property. We're finding out that water entering our property is more toxic than anything leaving. It's actually in better condition when it leaves the property, which is amazing when you think about it. But again, people don't realize that. They don't see those statistics. That's why the New Jersey Green Industry Council has the opportunity, to get together with legislators on a one-on-one basis, sit down at dinner with them, and they actually listen. And I've even learned to talk to both sides of the aisle, and that's amazing. And I think that's important because it doesn't affect one side or the other. It affects all of us. And so we have had great meetings. I'm certainly honored that GCSA NJ appointed me to the board of directors, New Jersey Green Industry Council, and I'm happy to serve. I thought I wouldn't have another opportunity after serving 8 years with GCSAA and then as president. And it seems like when you get really good at something after 8 years, then they give you the boot, so that's all right. It took a little time off, but I found something that I'm passionate about and I enjoy doing, and I enjoy working with Nancy and the group. And we have a tremendous group of individuals working with us on this. But you can see the water conservation, the awards programs that the different associations give out every year. I think it's important. It's important that we get that word out. It's important that we talk about things like runoff and how we lessen the amount of pollution going into our streams and rivers. And certainly the fertilizer bans that were in effect, or the laws that went into effect, it made us all a little stronger, to look at it a little closer and be a little more concerned about how we apply these things. And I'm not as worried about the golf courses applying these products, but I think we also need to educate our homeowners, because that's where the vast majority of pesticides and fertilizers are spread on home lawns by individuals. And those are the legislative districts. We have a few covered, and we have probably more than that, but with 40 districts, it's tough. But we want to try to cover them all. And we want to find out who the legislators are that are supporting our interests in golf. And the interests go beyond even turf and water and fertilizers. I mean, your taxation, there's all kinds of issues out there that everyone in this room is concerned with. And so, we need to be a solid voice. We need to get together. Certainly a membership in our association, the silent auctions, contribution to our legislative fund, sponsorships for golf outings and events, things of that nature, host site for educational events. We need all of you to help us participate and sponsor these meetings and get involved. These are some of the levels that we currently have, and we have a number at all of these different levels, but certainly even the individual level is a great help. Even a facility that joins at the individual level, certainly if there's more, that's great, but anything will help us in our efforts to educate our legislators in Trenton. And then, of course, our big party at Expo with our silent auction. We do have a lot of fun with that, but we hopefully touch a lot of superintendents and managers and arborists and all the landscape people at that Expo every year. And certainly you're all welcome to join us down in Atlantic City in December. So, in summary, our Green Industry Council, we're advocating for the green industry through education, and communication. It's the responsibility, certainly of everyone in this room, to help out and to be a part of that. And we hope that you can join us at some point in time. And certainly for more information, Nancy is the face of our association, and she is the mover and shaker that makes it happen, keeps us all in line, keeps us all on time, gets us to those important meetings, and brings up, certainly is the watchdog for all of us on the board to see what's next online for us to have to work on. Thank you again for the New Jersey State Golf Association for having us here today.